ELI5 How can someone speak a language fine but not be able to read said language? As a child, you learn to talk long before you learn to read and write. Basically same idea with a different language. You learn the sounds before you learn the shapes that are associated with those sounds. Because they are totally different skills. One is visual and one is speech. Blind people can speak and mute people can read. Greater than how can people be illiterate? FTFY. If that is what you are trying to ask. Otherwise the answer could just be, by being illiterate. They're not familiar with the letters? We are hardwired for learning to speak language that we are exposed to. Writing and thus reading are human inventions. We are not hardwired for them. There are many possible answers here. 1. The person is analphabetic, cannot read or write in any language. 2. The person is unfamiliar with the writing system in question. I know people who can speak a little Mandarin but cannot read pictographs. This may be true of Japanese as well. 3. The person is extremely dyslexic or has some other reading-related problem. I am sure there are other explanations as well. Well, I'll take it from my perspective. Any language that isn't derived from Latin. I cannot read. Japanese, Arabic, Korean, Pakistani, anything else like Spanish obviously. French, Italian. It's very easy because the letters are derived from the same origin, so it's easier to make out. Syllables. Ask any 2-year-old. Humans usually develop speech before they learn how to read. Mimicking sounds that are often repeated to you is a simpler task for humans to master than looking at symbols and memorizing what those symbols mean, i.e., reading. Have you never encountered someone who was not taught to read? I am this carrot. I can speak it but cannot read it. Reason being is that the translated alphabet of what we say is hard to read. Like thank you is spelt lang zing. It's hard for people in my generation who grew up reading and writing English words to enunciate out mother language's alphabetical words since it's spelt so weird. My child is fluent in Russian as his mom only spoke Russian to him. But he was never exposed to Russian literature or any Russian education where we live. So yeah, he can speak and listen. But will take an hour to read one page. I can speak and write in English, but I grew up with Mexican immigrant parents who only spoke Spanish. So I can speak it okay, but I got a fumble through reading it because nobody ever taught me. Man shrugging, medium skin tone, I assume exactly like that is how it happens. It's phonetically similar enough to how it sounds that I can sorta read it without having ever been taught, but honestly it's mostly educated guessing. I am bilingual and find it much easier to have a conversation with people in my second language. But when I read the newspaper, for instance, it's a whole different set of language. It's like your neighbor who has English for a second language can easily carry on a conversation with you, but show him the NY Times or anything written by Umberto Eco and he would be totally lost. Opposite for me. I had to take a foreign language as a college requirement. So I took Spanish. I can read, write it much better than I can speak, listen to it. A lot of native Spanish speakers speak too quickly for me to pick up words. Más despacio. Por favor. Because they don't know what the letters look like. They only learned the sounds from someone speaking to them. Has there ever been a word you know how to say, but you don't know how to spell it? It's like that. But for every word. Same way people speak a single language without being able to read or write it. Illiteracy is a thing, and has been since the invention of reading and writing. I can read and write Japanese because I focused on learning the alphabets. However, I haven't started learning words and grammar yet. So this would explain the opposite end of your question. I can read and write the language but can't speak it. It would work the other way around as well. Someone could learn to speak a language without ever learning how to read or write it. That would make their lives infinitely harder when using that language, but it is possible. Don't forget to share, like and subscribe for more content.